Kia ora tātou, nau mai haere mai. Wade Manson here from Sport Gisborne Tairāwhiti, and you're listening to our podcast, The Sideline Yak.
Seeing your players develop as an individual, as a team, doing the sweat and tears at training and tactical plays, when you see that, those are the woohoo moments.
Kia ora anō, ko te manako, kua pai te rā. Hope you are having a good day. Here we are, whānau, episode 3, and we decided to change things up a bit this time. We've grabbed another microphone so we could have these two amazing wāhine from the Tairāwhiti netball community on this episode of the Sideline Yak, Cristal Kemp and Monique McLeod.
I don't ever want to be any kid's last coach. I don't want to ever be that coach that is the reason why they stop playing. For me, it's about creating, more than anything else, an environment that they want to return to, where they feel included, where they feel enjoyment.
Cristal and Mons both love netball. They have played the game, umpired the game and coached the game, and have been coaching for many years, developing their skill set through the netball community coaching pathway, and currently both work for the Gisborne Netball Centre. They are dedicated to their sport and advocate for youth to have a quality experience within all sport, and are passionate about developing coaches to have the tools to achieve this. Today, Cristal and Mons share their sporting experiences growing up. We chat about coaching their own children, the balance of being a mother and a coach, and their learnings. Both share their coaching philosophies and how it can guide them through the challenges of being a parent coach. We also discuss the minimum game time within netball and how sport contributes so much more than just winning or losing. The passion and sincerity to develop our young people is clearly evident in Cristal and Mons' talk today. Their love for sport and creating positive experiences for young people is an asset to our local netball community. If you are a parent looking to coach or already coaching, then I'm sure you will find some gold nuggets in this episode today. As always, if you enjoyed this yak, feel free to share with others. The more we can promote this whānau, the more others can benefit from these discussions. Nō reira, whakarongo mai ki te yak. Kia ora kōrua. Welcome to the Sideline Yak. Today we have Mons and Cristal, and we have a special guest as well, Tian, who's floating around playing with blocks and toys and waiting for his hot chocolate. But awesome to have you two here. Really appreciate the time that you've allowed us. Hopefully we're going to have some awesome kōrero going forward. Just to kick us off, are you able to just summarise your role in a couple of minutes, like who you are and what you get up to within the netball community?
Kia ora te whānau, ko marae taha te awa, ko mātiti te maunga, ko nai tā manuhiri te iwi, ko Cristal Kemp ahau, and I'd like to start with up the wās. And so my role at Gisborne Netball Centre is Game Development Officer, and I wear a few hats in that space, coming from Junior Coordinator with our Future Ferns, Coach Developer, Umpire Developer, Player Development, and a few other things along the way in my role. So that's a little bit about what I do at Gisborne Netball Centre.
Thanks, Cristal.
Kia ora. My role at the Gisborne Netball Centre is the Youth Development Officer. So my space is in the secondary age group. I primarily came into the role to engage rangatahi in the design of netball opportunities that would increase youth participation. But I also get involved in the reps space and support coaching workshops, I'm becoming a coach developer, but still in the training space there, and basically running events, leagues, festival days, anything that encourages our youth to get involved in netball.
Nice. How did netball come about? Like, why netball?
Why netball? Oh, for me, it came about 25 years ago, coaching my daughter and the interest for myself as a player. So that's when I first had the little fire ignited, myself as a player and then coaching my daughter. So yeah, that's how that came about for me.
Can you even take me back further? Can you take us back to netball as a kid? What got you into netball?
Yeah, that's a cool question, Wade, because right now I'm thinking of there used to be, our playing courts were at St Mary's School, and if you're around my age bracket, you'll remember our courts being there. 5 years old, my dad used to take me, and he used to pay me 20 cents if I got a goal. We used to wear these heavy pleated skirts, and it was so much fun. So, and I used to play for Kaiti. So that's when it all started. Yeah, my dad was the main driver supporter in my space in netball.
Nice. Mons.
I remember actually coming home from school one day. I went to Patatahi school, and there was a form that we were allowed to take home asking students if they wanted to play netball. So I took this form home. It was the first time I'd ever played a team sport, and sat there with my parents going, I think I want to play netball. And we sat there deciding what position I was going to play, and we decided I was going to become the goal attack because I could run around heaps and shoot goals. That's what I did. I signed up back in my primary days, and pretty much the love of the game grew from there.
Were there any other sports, like back when you were a child, like anything else that you were interested in or that you played or were involved with?
Well, not for me, and I think the opportunities weren't there way back in the days. All we knew was netball for the girls and rugby for the boys. So I didn't have any other opportunities out there that I knew of. There could have been some, of course, but no, it was netball for me.
Similarly, netball was the main sport, and it's always been my main sport. But actually, I was super, super lucky to, as I said, grow up in Patatahi. And at that time, like we're talking, growing up in the 80s, we were just so, so lucky growing up out there. There was a really strong community vibe, and us kids were fortunate because we had Taekwondo come to Patatahi in the hall there. So I participated in that for numerous years, getting all the way to my black tip. Never did the black belt, unfortunately. Then also badminton became this big thing out there in the hall, and all us kids out Patatahi school. It attracted everyone. We were all there. And so, yeah, enjoyed the badminton scene. The tennis courts were pumping. The club was pumping. I feel very privileged and lucky to have grown up out Patatahi. And I think when I run into my old friends from our school days, we all kind of share that appreciation. It's brought us together. We feel we all shared in something really special in our youth. So we got to do lots of tennis through the school. I remember participating and coming into town and playing against the townies. It was awesome. And outside of that, we were constantly outdoors having a ball, whether we were on someone's trampoline, climbing over the banks to go down to the lagoon for swims, just riding our bikes, all sorts. We were just outdoors kids, and we loved it.
Nice, very country orientated, country kid.
Absolutely, yeah.
Cool. How much has netball changed since then? In terms of a player, like as a player?
As a player, it's changed hugely. The surface that our players are playing on, what they're wearing now, the skills, it's just leveled up leaps and bounds from when I used to play to now.
Absolutely. Cristal's already touched on it. When we started off playing netball, and I said I wanted to be goal attack, and that's the only position I played through my entire childhood. Nowadays, we encourage our kids to try a variety of positions. That's a great thing. I've loved that adaptation to the game and those experiences for our kids. Yeah, my defence skills have never been particularly strong because I've never ventured into the defence end of the court. But that's been a significant change.
Yeah, the actual game is changing and evolving all the time, and that's across the board with other codes as well. So if we watch games, say Silver Ferns 40 years ago, and we fast forward it now, the players are stronger, they're fitter, the movements are just dynamic. It has just grown over the years. And I like what you touch base on there, Mon, with back when I was playing, I only got to try goal shoot and I wasn't, my coach never put me anywhere else. So fast forward to today, we encourage coaches to give your players an opportunity to try other positions, because we don't know, they might be the next Irene van Dijk, but they're always kept in the goalkeeper role. So that's what we're encouraging for today's netball.
Nice. You're creating that versatile player, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
That's, adaptable. So what life skills did you get from the time of playing moving forward?
As a player back in the day, I just found netball was all about whanaungatanga for me. And fast forward to today, it's the same. But I was single mother, little kids, and so were my teammates. A lot of us were the same. And we just wrapped support. It's warm. Oh, gosh. I just felt being as a player back then, it was about whanaungatanga first, and supporting each other, especially around with us and all our kids. There was always someone on the sideline to look after your baby while you got out there and played.
Well, sport is life. When you're out there playing sport, you're living. While you're playing, whether you're on or off the court, you're constantly engaging in experiences that help grow you, challenge you, whether it's the highs, the lows. Everything about sport is gonna help you to grow as a person, or to connect with others, or to learn something. You know, it's just loads of opportunities to discover more about yourself and to learn about others and how to support others. And it's just,
I love it. Awesome. Okay, so fast forward and you both become mums and you've got your children. How did they end up playing netball? Was there a little bit of, because we've played netball, we're moving into netball, or did they find their own way to netball?
Yep, it came off me first. I played netball, so of course I wanted my daughter to play netball. To be honest, that was the only sport. I think hockey was injected about then, but that was an opportunity for my daughter, no coach. So that's when I signed up.
yes, I did encourage my girls to give netball a go, but I also encouraged them to try other sports. And so all three of my daughters played hockey during primary. They've all had a go at badminton, and they're all currently playing badminton this year. Did have a go at surf lifesaving, or I should say they had a go at surf lifesaving. Lasted a season, wasn't for them. So yeah, I always encouraged having a go and seeing what resonates with you. The netball definitely has, and I think probably because definitely had some probably impact towards that. But they love it. They love the sport as much as I do. Yeah.
Nice. Cristal, you mentioned that around coaching. We see a lot of parents that actually have to put their hand up to coach because schools struggle to find coaches. There's always that nervousness or not too sure if we should put the hand up. If we don't put our hand up, we're not going to have a team. So you're able to just explain how you ended up taking on that role as a coach for your kids' teams?
Firstly, that was many moons ago, and yeah, you got the sign-up form brought home, and then, we had no cell phones back then, so it was pretty much, I kept on going into the school. At that time, there was no one that had signed up to be the coach, so I thought, hey, I know a little bit about the sport, why not? Otherwise, our kids would have missed out. So, yeah, that's how I first started my coaching career.
I've always loved sport from a kid right through. And so once I had kids, I knew it was going to be a big part of our lives together. And yes, when they came home with the opportunities to play netball, absolutely I wanted to be involved in that. Yeah, there is a shortage of coaches. It wasn't like I was fighting for the coaching role, but yeah, glad I got that opportunity. I was more than willing to put my hand up, use that time to spend with my kids.
What support did you have at that time? From the school, from family? Like what did that look like?
That looked like not much support at all. I can remember just getting handed a ball, a set of bibs and the uniforms, and that was it. You got handed a bag, had some resources in it, and away you go. I didn't know who to reach out to as well, so I just took it upon myself and actually had my friends that I played with and had some conversations. And what we'd do at training for my playing team, I would just carry it on to my little 5-year-olds. Of course, I would downscale it and modify it, but it was pretty much, all myself with some input from my friends. Yep, so that was about me.
At the time that I started coaching my kids, I was actually working within the Regional Sports Trust here at Gisborne Tairāwhiti. So I was surrounded by a lot of support, a lot of people that I could bounce off. I was surrounded by people with a really positive mindset towards sport. So there was support around me. I was relying initially on just my own experiences and my past playing experiences. I'd done a little bit of coaching prior having kids that I suppose helped me to learn and grow. But pretty much wasn't really reaching out within the netball centre or getting support from the centre at that time. I was just relying on the people in my workplace, but really just myself to be honest. Just this I had the attitude that I just wanted to be out there doing it. So
did you both feel capable of being able to like putting your hand up as a coach and then going, I can do this? Did you feel capable enough, or did you feel like you needed more support?
At the time, I wasn't nervous about it. I felt capable and I just didn't know where to go really. So I just took it all upon myself. But I thought I had the attitude, okay, we've got this. We can do this. So, yeah.
So, Cristal, what support would you have liked to have had back then? In the perfect world,
Yep.
So if you're starting as a coach back when you did, what would you have liked to have had in terms of support? What would good look like?
I would have liked to have known that I could go somewhere to get support like the centre. Of course, to go somewhere at the school and some resources. Back then there was no technology. You couldn't just whip something up on the phone. So just handouts, just some sort of resources would have been nice to have in the kete starting off way back then. So yeah, and who could we go to? Because I didn't know who to go to back then.
Similarly, didn't know really where to go for netball resources as such, but definitely somewhere along the pathway, I must have discovered that there was help, because I'm not sure exactly what year it was, but the Netball Centre, and I wasn't working for the Netball Centre at that time, but they were offering workshops. So I started attending these because I did have a strong desire to improve my coaching skills. And so I started attending the player-centred coaching workshop. Soon I was attending attacking workshops, defence workshops, shooting workshops, team building workshops, team culture workshops. And I still go to these workshops to refresh, because sometimes I forget it all. So I need to go and refresh. And so I'm really proud to say I've attained my community coaching award level 1, and I really encourage coaches. I've personally found so much benefit from them. I always encourage coaches to come along. And so now that I'm working within the centre, that's kind of cool that I can provide that information to new coaches or even experienced coaches, so that they're not starting off feeling like they're lost.
And I think, and this is a plug for the Netball Centre now, is like, we've got 2 amazing people in those roles of the game development officer and youth development officer. You two are there now to provide that support, because you've lived through it. You've understood what support you've needed. You've been able to be there now in those roles, like Netball Centre, those roles that are there to support coaches coming through, which is really cool. Looking at coaching your own children, and that can be a task in itself, how do you deal with the dynamics of mum and child, and then coach and athlete?
I've coached a few of my kids. I have 6 tamariki whānau. So I started with Heaven in the netball space, and I coached her for a number of years, say about 10 years. My girl Hev. Our relationship was a match made in heaven. She would take her daughter hat off and become the athlete, and me, mum, put the coaching hat on. And she was an actual role model towards the others as well. She would have a conversation with me and say, Mum, how come you direct things at me? You know, she would come out and would have those conversations. And this was a long time ago. And then she realised, is it because you're telling me, but you pointed it out to the rest of the team? And exactly how it was. So for that child, we had a good relationship. God bless her cotton socks. I'd love to coach her today, moving forward, what I know now, and she still plays. I also coached my twins. I have twin boys in the touch rugby space when they were intermediate level. Boys are different to coach. I love coaching boys. And then of course they had their friends with them, and they would just soak it up. They wouldn't really just ask lots of questions. They'd look at me with a lot of, you know, the big SpongeBob eyes and just really want to soak it up. Coachable, very coachable the boys were. My boys were different to coach. One would go home and say, Mum, did you see me get this try and whack that boy? Yes, son, I saw you. And then the other one would wait until I asked him, how'd you feel about your game? That was a good experience, mother coaching her sons. And then a few years later, I started coaching my other daughter, and that was a big struggle for us. We clashed as a athlete coach, and then switching over to daughter mother. That's when the clash came. And I had to check in on myself as well of the conversations that I was having with my child. I wasn't the car ride home, whānau, wasn't a very good car ride home with my daughter and I. Yeah, I had to look at myself and say, you know, this is wrong. It took me a season or two to realise that pulling out the whys and the what questions to my daughter on the car ride home, that wasn't good for our relationship. So we discussed it. She was quite hard-headed as well. She didn't want to listen to her mum coaching, and that was a bit of a clash. So what I did there, whānau, and I don't know whether you might take this one on board, but I actually had to step away. I had to step away from coaching her, and 2 years fast forward now, it's did a whole lot of good for both myself and my child. I think the injection of a new coach for her has developed her hugely. Of course, because she had to have her listening ears on. She respects everyone, and her development has grown. For myself, it made me just reset and just push that button to look at, can we come back together and be an athlete coach? And we've both had a discussion, and yeah, we're ready to come back together again. I've got one more child, whānau. I'm coaching him at the moment with under 8s in JAB and touch as well. So again, the different age groups as well is a difference as well. These little people are just, they fill my cup up. They make me want to coach again, because I was at a point there that I wanted to give coaching up. And then I switched to little people with rugby and touch, and it just ignited my passion to coaching again. So I hope there was some tips in there, whānau.
It's an amazing story. Thank you for sharing. That's awesome. I'm sure there'll be a lot in there that people will be able to take from.
Coaching my eldest daughters, I absolutely loved it. It bonded us. It was time well spent. I just got nothing but enjoyment out of it. My girls, you know, you always talk to them at the start of the season. For me, one of my strongest values is fairness. It's right up there with respect for others. Just got this big thing around fairness. So they know going into any season, I'm not going to treat them any differently to any other kid. Those are other people's precious babies out there that I've got the privilege of working with. So I'm going to take care of them as much as I am you. And they understood that. And and we loved our time together. I'm really fortunate to have a great relationship with my daughters. Was there a time I had to step away? Yeah, sure. There was a time, I think by the end of primary, I thought it might be beneficial for them, for their netball to get some gems off someone else, another coach might be beneficial for them. And I did step away. That was an interesting learning experience. Long story short, I was back coaching the next year. Why? Because the coach that they had a different philosophy to mine, and it was impacting their confidence. It was impacting their holder. Although I tried to talk to the coach about it, it fell on deaf ears, and it wasn't something that was up for debate. So I thought really the only way I can address this is to be a coach again and to install in my coaching practices philosophies that I feel help kids to enjoy the sport. So I was back coaching the next year. That came a lot around to, this is at intermediate age, girls not getting on the court. So my girls always say to me, when it comes to the question of are you going to play this year, are you going to coach us? They actually want me to coach. And that's a real privilege. I know a lot of kids don't like being coached by their parents, but to have my kids actually, please, Mum, can you coach this year, is really special. I've not always been able to coach them because other wonderful people have stepped up and taken those roles. So that's cool. That allows me to put my energy into coaching my younger daughter. And that's been a different experience too. Yeah, each child comes with their own personality. And yes, sometimes I feel, I have to have little chats. Yeah, you do have to have little chats to your own afterwards because, I remind them, hey, I need you to be a role model for the rest of the girls. And it just requires some good communication because your own daughter, I suppose they feel like because it's mum, they can say things to you that other kids wouldn't think of saying. And that's okay because I get it, I'm mum. But we just have to have a little chat about what's appropriate to be said in front of the team and how to behave. And those conversations are fine to navigate. What I love about coaching with my kids is that my kids provide me with some really good feedback. They will tell me straight up, Mum, I think he's talked a little bit too much in that one. Or, Mum, that was awesome. That was such a cool training. Thank you for that. So while it's important to get feedback from all your players, you can count on your own to give you some pretty honest stuff.
Do you feel like you're ever tough on your own child while you're coaching?
Absolutely.
Why do you think that?
It happened with my older daughter. I was always tougher on her. I was always telling her first, but it was trying to spread it and sprinkle over the entire team. But talking about it now is like, oh my goodness, sorry, kid. But I'd just direct it at her first. Yeah, and then, naturally you talk to your own child with a little bit of grunt and gruff, but to somebody else's child, I don't know, this is me. I may be called a little bit of a softie as a coach, but I don't have it in me to have that real stern way of coaching. But to your own, I do. And whānau, I also coach my mokopuna as well in the JABs. And oh my gosh, thinking about it, I also give him a little bit of a rev up because they're your own, I guess. I guess that's where it comes from. And then try and hopefully the message filters out to the rest of the players. So you try and tend to pick on your own a little bit more. But that's me, yeah.
It's interesting conversation because a lot of us as parents, when we go in and as become a coach for the team, we don't want to be seen as favouring our own child and bringing them up above anyone else. So you sort of naturally incline maybe, and I don't know, there may be some psychology around it or something that you sort of treat them slightly different so people don't see you as favouring them. What I'm trying to get at is it's quite a fine line between coaching our own kids and it's knowing when to switch off as a coach and when to switch off back in as a parent. And that's like you mentioned, Cristal, the car ride home. That's almost a podcast in itself. Just simple things like, I love seeing you play today. Just simple things like that. You don't need to analyse the whole game, the whole training session. It's just being able to recognise that they were out there. You love seeing them play. You love seeing them doing something that they enjoy. That'll keep them coming back.
And I've got a story from when I first started out, not knowing nothing about coaching, then getting into my role, adding all this gold into my kete, still having little kids to raise and becoming their coach. So their stories are totally different of how I was as a mum and a coach, learning all the tools. So my baby Onyx is getting all the gold. However, the older kids might have got a little bit of the other side of mum being the coach.
That's cool. And I think we will make mistakes as coaches and as parents. We always do. And I think if we can learn from it, it's even better. But I think the main thing, especially to our listeners that are listening to us today, it's more about there is support out there. There is help. Never be afraid to ask, whether it's to you two at the Netball Centre, whether it's just to another parent or another coach that you know of, or even to the school if you're coaching with the school. The nice thing is that as coaches, you can always get feedback, you can always get information. How you translate or interpret it or use it is up to you, but at least if you're out there listening and learning, then it can be really helpful. Tricky thing to navigate. Like, we've all been there. That's why you're on today to help come up with some of these tips around it. It can really strengthen relationships within families.
Absolutely. I've got memories now of my daughters telling me what I should have done. You shouldn't have put her there, and you should have done this, and you should have done that, as if they're all of a sudden the coaches. But, they're young. They haven't had the opportunities that I've had over the years to develop my philosophy and why I do things the way I do. So we've got to kind of I listen to them, but I also try to explain to them why I have done what I've done, and I think they come around to understand that. Yeah, so sometimes, maybe putting this player in that position cost us a game, but teaching them why we've done that is part of their learning.
Are you able to share your philosophies, your coaching philosophy?
Yeah, I will probably start back when I first started coaching. The style, we'll go with that first, the style of coaches that were out there, and there's many of them still there today. Very coach-centered style of coaching, and that's how I was, because I didn't know no other really. This is what I would like you to do, and this is how you do it. Learning over 25 years of coaching, now it's all about the player-centered coaching. It's all about the athlete, hearing their voice, knowing the person before the player. So over probably about the last 15 years, I've built a philosophy around my coaching. It differs depending on what age group that you're coaching, but it would pretty much be having a hui. This is how it'll look like. So whānau, it's really important to have that post-selection of your team, have a hui with your team and their whānau, especially if you're coaching age group children, involve the whānau, and talk about your philosophy, your expectations of the season. And my last one, it was of a secondary netball team, and it was, we are going to have, your child will all play at least half a game, 2 quarters in a netball game. And that's what I wanted to do. And I prided myself through the season of having that, keeping them safe, communication. Those were the top 3 of our coaching season that year. So I was true to my philosophy. I wrote it out that season. We didn't always get the W on the court, but winning for me looks like different things in our team. But it changes for me each season and depending on who I'm coaching.
There's something you mentioned in there around half game, which I'll park at the moment, but I'll come back to because it's an interesting topic. Mons, what about you with your philosophy?
My philosophy is our players are people first. I'll admit there was probably a time where I thought to be a good coach, I had to come in and sound like I knew everything, and I didn't, but I'll fake it and pretend I do. Probably talk the whole way through the training and tell them this is the way to do things. And there was an evolution, of course, in saying less and allowing the kids to be involved more, and soon learnt that they had a lot to offer in terms of how our trainings went. And so now very much it's about, allowing the players to express themselves. They can come up with some really good adaptations to games and come up with their own rules. Sure, you're there to help guide, but I definitely do a lot more pulling now. And I allow trainings to be a little messier than before. Good to have a bit of a plan, but you can veer off that plan. But basically, I think it's about, I don't ever want to be any kid's last coach. I don't want to ever be that coach that is the reason why they stop playing. For me, it's about creating, more than anything else, an environment that they want to return to, where they feel included, where they feel enjoyment. And I know I've had players come to my team because they've not felt that somewhere else. And that's a really wonderful thing to know, that you're making players feel that way. And it beats any scoreline at the end of the day, because we don't remember the scores of anything. We remember how we felt. That's the buzz I get from it, really. But hey, I'm human. I'm not going to pretend there's not moments where I'm sitting there looking at that score. I'm not going to lie to you. It sometimes it comes. I coach girls that do have a competitive edge, but we also have mixed players, and there's a whole lot of things you've got to juggle, and you've got to be really careful sometimes of your emotions on a particular day and what you can get carried away with. But, that's why reflection is such a big piece of coaching, and why we must always come back and have a little check-in, like Chris says, have a little check-in with yourself. I do plenty of that, and I'm not always proud of every decision I've made, but I hope I'm getting better and better each time I'm out there with a team, and I'm definitely trying to. So I'm trying to develop a growth mindset for myself, and I try to be that role model for the kids so that they can develop that growth mindset. The more I allow myself, or give myself permission to make mistakes, the more they're going to give themselves permission to do the same. We're all just in this one big journey of learning, and I hope that I'm creating that more and more as I carry on coaching.
I love it. Being in that learning pit is always sometimes scary, but that's, as Cristal said, is where the gold comes from. So Cristal, you mentioned minimum game time for kids. Mm-hmm. So in 2019, Netball New Zealand made some bold changes to create participant-focused and player-centred opportunities. One of those changes was the minimum game time, which was youth player or a junior player had to play at least a minimum of half a game. So that's been a big change, and there'll probably be a lot of pushback from it, but can you just talk us through some of your thoughts around this?
I feel with young people, when they sign up or put their name down to play a sport, they're putting their name down to play a sport. If this kid has got the motivation to sign up to play netball or hockey or whatever it is, then that's what they should be doing. It's that simple. Sitting on a bench is not playing the sport they've signed up to play. They're young, and we know the benefits of sport, the health benefits, the emotional benefits, the spiritual benefits. So let them have those benefits by giving them game time. So I know there's been evidence-based research that has gone into getting the voice from young people as to why they play. And that evidence is there, and it's because they want to develop their skills. They want to connect with their friends. They want to have fun and all that stuff. So it's really just about providing the space for them to do that. So these recommendations to give our young people minimum game time is really to support those things so that they can improve their skills. They're not going to improve sitting on the bench. They want to feel like they matter. Everyone should be treated the same. They pay the same fees. They go to trainings. They get the same opportunity on the court. That's what kind of drives me anyway, as far as game time goes. And I guess we're lucky. I feel we're very lucky to have a national sporting body like Netball New Zealand that support us in with ways to encourage this and to help this to be achieved.
On reflection, or a question that you could be asking yourself as a coach, is like, are you prioritizing a short-term results-focused approach over a long-term player development? Because at the end of the day, like you say, we want kids to come back. Everyone should have the equal opportunity. They all pay their fees. They all get that opportunity to play. And the only way a player is going to be developed or get to a point where if they want to go further is they have to play. If they're sitting on the bench, they're never going to have that opportunity. Like you said, like the reason that it got brought in is because retention rates were low. So people actually stopped playing because they weren't getting the time. There is a big risk because you have a coach that might go, I'm only going to put the best on and that's it, because I want to win. But then we need to sort of look at it and going, what is your philosophy? How are you developing? And these are kids. They're actual kids. They're not adults. I know rugby are doing it. So they're doing that half game minimum. Netball, obviously now. I know football and hockey obviously advocate for equal playing time. So I think it's really cool that the codes are doing it. Potentially there might be more education to coaches around why we're doing this. And it's more about, as you say, it's not about the scoreboard. It's more about the development of the player and their love of the sport as well. Like if these kids are here because they love playing it, give them those opportunities, get them out there. The more time they get on the field, the more opportunities they have to develop and they just get better.
Absolutely, and I feel that, it's about the experience, whānau, and I feel as a coach, all right, okay, so we might have our 7 strongest string on there, but as a coach, I would like to coach the whole 10, the whole 12 up at a same level, so whatever changes you make, there's no disruptions on the flow of our game. So that's my challenge for myself as a coach, to get my players all on the same level.
There is a lot for coaches to learn around this, but also for players too. And you know, actually there are a lot of young players that actually are they're very competitive and they like to win. And that's okay. And that's, you know, we might have a win and we can celebrate those wins. But I also feel there's a responsibility for me to help kids understand exactly what Cristal said. And that's how winning can also look. So I spend a lot of time at the start of any season around our values and what's important to us and our behaviours and how actually how our sportsmanship can make us winners. I've stood on the side of a court many a time where the girls are frustrated by the opposition, by various factors. They'll complain that they're getting pushed around, that other players are behaving a certain way. You know, we can't control what's going on there, but life lessons, we can control how we react to things. And it's about building our players to, even at a young age, to be able to find the mental strength to kind of get through these challenging moments. At the end of the game, if we don't have the points on the board, I say to them, looking at our sportsmanship, we were winners. Did you answer back to the umpire? Did you swear at or push another player? Did you put down your teammates? And if the answers to that are no, we're the winners. And there's, many ways to feel good about your experience on the court. It's got nothing to do with the scoreline. The improvement, you know, players made. You know, you've seen them practicing their goals. They don't want to shoot, but we've been practicing. They go and they shoot really well. Might not have led to a win, but they put up some shots, you know, whatever the case may be. Yeah, I think it's really important to bring in at a young age, helping our kids to understand these things.
Nice. That's the difference between obviously performance-centred and development-centred, and that's the two of you around this philosophy of being development-centred or athlete-centred. It's putting it all around the child and giving them those opportunities to develop, whereas performance-centred is obviously just focused on winning, scoring, the scoreboard, and it can be quite detrimental to a child that is learning the game, like especially within our junior grades and youth grades. An example that I've used for the kids that I coach is that we provide opportunities for them to fail. Obviously, our end goal is Winter Tournament Week. In the meantime, we play in the men's league here at home. But giving them those opportunities, go out there and throw an aerial, go out there and do a tomahawk, practice that. And the aerial might go over one person and drop down, and then the other team's coming at us with a baller game. They had that opportunity to actually try it, test it, in an environment that we were quite safe to do, from maybe 1-2 kids doing aerials to about 3/4 of the team all having a crack at doing aerials. And now they just throw them whenever they want to, and they understand why they have to throw the ball up in the air, and they get it, and they've practiced it, and they've had those opportunities to be able to do it. So it's amazing, and I think those are the highlights, and those for me are the wins, because that's when you see your player developing and they're becoming better because they've had those opportunities to be able to do that.
Absolutely. Seeing your players develop as an individual, as a team, doing the sweat and tears at training, and then seeing the gold being displayed on the game time, those are big winning moments for me. Tactical plays, when you see that, those are the woohoo moments. And just the whānau, the fizz around the courts with whānau, just happy to see their kid out on the court playing. A shooter that wasn't very confident to enter that circle to turn and shoot. Those are winning moments for me instead of the dub on the court, on the card.
What's an achievement that you are most proud of within your mahi?
Starting off in my mahi, I wasn't really confident about taking on the role, but with all the people that I have worked with and all the support wrapped around, I'm having the confidence now. I wasn't that confident starting in my role, been in it for about 7 years, and the people that I've worked with, the high profile coaches, players, and especially the support around our community have really boosted my confidence now in doing my mahi and talking to a room full of hundreds of people and just growing and knowing my craft. And then, of course, seeing the pathways open for our players and our coaches and our umpires. I think that's one of the highlights that I'm most proud of being a part of in my role. I do hope that one day that I'm still here, a player, an umpire or a coach gets that silver fern on their chest. And if I could say, hey, I taught that player at Future Ferns level, or that coach was at one of my workshops, or hey, I've given some gold to that umpire. That would be the ultimate for me. That it's, building the confidence with the people that I've worked with and creating those pathways. Yeah.
Nice.
In 2020, I was given the opportunity to work with rangatahi. We had the challenge of co-designing a netball opportunity that would engage more young people in netball. It was a really difficult year. We had COVID. It stopped the momentum in a lot of other centres of this happening, and we were all working with the same goal in mind. And I'm just really proud of the effort of our local rangatahi that despite some of these challenges just stayed solutions focused, remained positive. We stayed connected online. We came together. We brainstormed. We supported one another, and at the end of it, we had our first ever youth beach league, and that was in 2020, and we've been able to continue offering social netball opportunities since then. So this will be our 4th year of running a social netball league for youth that looks very different to our Saturday sport. It's still growing. We still are learning a lot in this space, but working with young people to make these things happen is really rewarding. But our young people, I think, they deserve to be heard, and it's just a privilege because I get to be part of their growth and development, and we're learning together, and it's just been a really wonderful thing to be part of.
Awesome. How has failure or apparent failure set you up for later success?
Anyone that knows me, and I blame this on my star sign, I'm a perfectionist. I overthink everything. And it took me a while to give myself permission to fail. That's thanks to a lot of people that I've been fortunate to have in my life. And it's something I've had time to embrace. Thankfully now, I don't see failure as anything negative. I mean, obviously, you make mistakes. If you don't, but you try to learn from them, right? If you keep making the same mistake, well, then there's a problem. But failure is okay, and that's what I tell our netball leaders, to be open to making mistakes, and things don't have to look perfect. Don't be hard on yourself. I think I have been I'm very critical of myself more than I'd ever be critical of anyone else walking on this planet. So learning to be kinder to myself by allowing myself to make mistakes. You can't just go into anything without a bit of a plan. So you've got to make the effort as well. You can't just make mistakes because you haven't even tried. You've got to put in some mahi and make an effort to grow. And that's what I apply to my work, to my coaching, to my mentoring of young people. And it is very liberating.
I love it, Mons. That's a great reflection. That's amazing.
I'm surrounded by good people, Wade, and this lady beside me, she's been my mentor for a long time now, and she is amazing at what she does. At being a coach developer, an umpire developer, but she has just always said to, encourage me to be me. As much as I think, oh man, I want to be more like Cristal and do this. No, and there are people that other coaches you can observe and learn from, and yeah, by all means do that, but always be authentic to yourself. And most people know what they get when they come across me. I have this, sometimes it can be a good thing, sometimes not so good, but I have this enormous ability to care about people. I'm highly empathetic, and it is one of my strengths, and I'll always consider it a strength, because through my own experiences, I can empathize more with players. So having been a player for a long time, I know what it's like when this scenario happens, when that scenario happens. I've experienced all the highs and lows, and that helps me to understand my players better. So I'm actually grateful for all the lows and all the challenges and all the hard stuff. At the time, it seems hideous, but when you get past it and you kind of go, actually, I'm really glad I had that experience, because when I come across a player having those similar experiences, those same emotions, I'll be better equipped to support them with that. So yeah, I'm glad for it all. Nice. Does that make sense? I went probably way off the question there. I don't even remember what it was.
That was gold, Mons.
Yeah, I guess for me it would be about preparation. So you do your reflection, and you always think, hey, how could I have done? What could we have done to smooth out edges or work on the improvement? It would be, the key thing is good preparation. Another one would be the communication. There were times it's all coming back to me now, sitting in this room, having this kōrero about the time where players were sitting on the bench. I didn't communicate well, and it all sort of turned to custard, and that definitely rocked my coaching experience then. So again, the reflection, okay, what can you do, Cristal, is you need to prepare and you need to communicate. So those will be my two big learnings moving forward. And then I did inject that into my coaching years later, following years, and stuck to it. And then in our roles, adding those tools, those golds in the kete is preparation, communication is high up there.
Love it.
Yeah.
And the last question, ladies. What does the value of sport mean to you?
It's going to be a little bit of a rap, whānau, but as I sit here and reflect on when I started with my older children to now, 25 years later, and I'm still coaching, and I'm even coaching my mokopuna, life skills, the whanaungatanga, my older children, and bless the whānau that has been around my older children when they were in the sports here in Te Tairāwhiti, is that they made friends for life, friends that sat on my boys' wedding tables, and the brothers My daughter, same story. All her girls back then, we created this whānau culture that they're still her sisters of today. Just the values that you instill in your whānau, and then they go to kura and they've got their school values, and then they go to their sports club or team and we take them there. And you do pick up some children and some athletes that have come to you, and you're seeing some missing value links along the way, and then you inject it into that player, and you just keep on telling them, you take this through to your life. Don't just be in the moment in our sports team. Wherever you go, you take those values. So it was all about that. And I now am coaching in JAB under 8s, this little touch team. And I felt that I've gone into a different code. I've been netball for so many years, and now I'm jumping into a different code. And I felt that I've taken some of my learnings from netball and I'm injecting it into this new space, and it's filtering out. I'm hearing some feedback that, hey, this coach, she's really good at talking to the kids, and then you get some feedback off the sideline. What I love to do in the rugby and the touch, and I've always done this even when my older kids were in this age group, is you line them up. You try and inject little things that the All Blacks do, or the Silver Ferns, and you line them up and you invite the other team and you run on the field. Oh my gosh, that fizz, that feeling just running on for our kids is just gold. And all the whānau there are clapping away like that. But yeah, it's for life experiences, creating that culture, whanaungatanga, and having those new friends actually become your brothers and sisters. So it has been a huge part of my life.
I love it. Absolutely love it. Nice. Thank you, Cristal. Mons.
It's all about the people. Through sport, I have experienced so many wonderful, wonderful moments. I've worked with wonderful people. I have coached wonderful young people. I get to know people better. I love meeting people. I love people. I love netball. You put it together and it's just the perfect mix. It's who I am. It's what I get my kicks from. It's bonded me to my family, and some of my best friends in this world I've met through sport. This lady right here, I just love with all my heart. She's not just someone who I learn from and respect in the netball sense. She's just one of my best friends, and I owe it all to sport. Just turning up at the courts on a Saturday, hi to this person, hug that person. It just gives me so much joy to watch other people having fun, to see the pride in parents as they watch their kids, to see kids learning, growing. It's all just a wonderful, wonderful buzz. As I said earlier, even the difficult, more challenging moments only become amazing moments when you've all had a chance to work through it and see it for what it is. I just think sport's just an absolutely wonderful, powerful vehicle to connect with others and learn about others, not just about netball, but who they are and who I am. And I tell you what, I've had some challenges, all right, through the coaching season, but when you get to the end of it, there will be a few people out there that can tell you when it comes to prize giving, oh man, I'm that person that's got a tear in my eye. Kind of getting a bit choked up thinking about it now, to be honest. Those kids that you just form these relationships with. Don't care how good or how bad they were on the court, but they're people. You get to know them, and it's just an absolute privilege. Yeah. So that's what it is for me, and it's why I keep coming back.
Awesome.
And I just wanted to add something that you made me think of, Mon, is that sport for me, and when I was a single mum, was I knew what my kids were doing. I knew that they were at training this time, and I knew that we were going away to a tournament or playing the game, and it just filled their lives up so they weren't bored and doing other things. It just filled their lives up with just this goodness that I truly believe that, was a big part of their mould growing up to be fine humans. I do whānau still have some little people growing up, but sport we're all about it. One more thing I wanted to add is that we're here to support you in your coaching. If you're one of those coaches that think, oh gosh, I do want to, but this and that. I always had a little kid around my ankles. There might have been one in my belly, one on my hip, and one in the pram. I still went and coached because there was no one. But when you create that environment, you've got all the babysitters on the sideline that help you, and they actually look at you and you're an inspiration. So hats off to all the coaches out there. It's not an easy gig, and we're here to support you in any way we can.
Awesome. I love it. Ngā mihi nui, a huge thank you to both of you. The sincerity, the passion, the pride, everything within our kōrero today has been amazing to hear. And I hope our listeners out there are able to take something away from it. And also to know that you two are available as well within the netball community. Whānau, if you're out there and you need some help, you want to further your coaching qualifications, you want to just even have that nudge to get into coaching, to come and see you too. You two are awesome. And thank you for being on today. Thank you for sharing. Thank you to Tian as well. You did a massive effort, mate. That's like over an hour of just keeping yourself active and entertained. So hats off to Tian as well. But ladies, thank you very much. Appreciate your time. And it's been a wonderful chat. Thank you.
Wade.
Thanks, Wade.
No.